हरे कृष्ण माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण सूर्य माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम। Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances and Dandavat Pranam. I invite you to the early morning short Bhagavatam class organized by ISKCON Radha Govinda Temple, Kolai, Bengaluru. I invite you specially for and on behalf of His Grace Sri Ramanista Das Puji. As usual, we'll begin with our prayers. Prayers are very important, and I would request all of you to go through prayers with me, keeping your mute button on. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Picharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshtari Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadavayam Dadati Sopadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuddhapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagar Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagar Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitascha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी पुष्पानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारी श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। May I request you to follow me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते वासुदेवाय।
जन्मादस्य यतो अन्वयाद इति नतः चार्थेषु अभिन्नः स्वरात्।
जन्माद्यस्य यतो अन्वयादितरतः अर्थेषु अभिघ्नस्वराट्।
तेने ब्रह्महृदयादि कवये मुह्यन्ति सूरयः।
तेने ब्रह्मोदया
ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये
अधिकवयो
मुह्यन्त्यः
तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा।
तेजोवारिमृदा यथा विनिमयो मृषा
धर्म स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकम् सत्यं परं धीमहि।
धाम्ना
नाम्ना
स्वेन
स्वेन
सदा
सदा निरस्तकुहकम्
सत्यं परं
परं धीमहि
धर्मः प्रोजहिता कैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सताम्।
परमो
निर्मत्सराणां
निर्मत्सराणां सताम्
वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदम् तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्।
वेद्यं
वेद्यं
वास्तवमत्र
वास्तवमत्र
वस्तु
शिवदम्
तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्।
तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्
श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैश्वरः।
श्रीमद्भागवते
श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते
किं वा
परैरीश्वरः
अद्योरद्य अवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिः सत्क्षणात्।
सद्यो
हृद्य अवरुध्यते कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिः
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमम्।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमम्
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये।
देवीं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो
जयमुदीरये
जयमुदीरये
पूर्णतां स्वकतः कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः
पूर्णतः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः
हृदयन्तस्तु यभद्राणि विदुनोति सुरसताम्।
हृदयस्थो हि अभद्राणि विदुनोति सुखस्ताम्
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया।
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं
भागवत
भगवत
सेवया
सेवया
भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी।
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम। प्रकाश राव प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम। Right. So today we are taking canto number 6, chapter 1st, verse number 8. Vijaya Kumari Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji, go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। तस्मात् पुरैवान् इह भाव निष्कृतौ यदेत् मृदोर् अपवित्यदात्मना दोषस्य दृष्ट्वा गुरुलाघवं यदा पिशक् सिगिदच्छेद रुजां निदानवित्। थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Thank you. Madhumai Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते
वासुदेवाय तस्मात् पुरैव आश्विह पापनिष्कृतौ यतेतमृत्योरपविद्यत आत्मना दोषस्य दृष्ट्वा गुरुलाघवं यता भिषक्चिकित्सेत रुजां निदानवीत्. थैंक यू प्रभु जी. हरे कृष्ण.
थैंक यू. वेंकट नरसिंह दास प्रभु जी.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. तस्मात् पुरैवाश्वः पापनिष्कृतौ यथेतमृत्योरविपद्यतात्मना दोषस्य दृष्ट्वा गुरुलाघवं यथा विषक्चिकित्सेन रुजां निदानवित्. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
थैंक यू. अंजलि माता जी. हरे कृष्ण माता जी.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. दंडवत प्रणाम. तस्मात् पूर इव अश्विह पाप निष्कृतो यतेत मृत्योः अपविद्ययत् आत्मना दोषस्य दृष्ट्वा गुरुलाघवं यथा भीषक् चिकित्सेत् रुजां निनादवेत्. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
थैंक यू. उषा भट्ट माता जी. हरे कृष्ण माता जी. You are muted, Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Pranams Prabhuji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tasmat Puraivashviha Papa Nishkrutau. Yate tamrutyora vipadyatatmana. Doshasya društva gurulaghavam yatha. Bishak chikitseta rujam nidanavit. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Pran Nandini Madhvi Devi Dasi ji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. प्रणाम प्रभु जी. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तस्मात् पुरैवाश्चैव पापनिष्कृतै यतेतमृत्युरविपद्यतात्मनः दोषस्य दृष्ट्या गुरुलाघवं यथा विषक्चिकित्सेत रुचं निदानवेत्. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. थैंक यू प्रभु.
Thank you. Subha Rao Prabhu ji. Hare Krishna Prabhu ji. Dandat Pranam.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. दंडवत प्रणाम. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तस्मात् पुरैवास्विह पापनिष्कृतौ यतेतमृत्योरविपद्यतात्मना दोषस्य दृष्ट्वा गुरुलाघवं यथा भिषक्चिकित्सेत रुजां निदानवेत्.
Chitra Mohini Devi Dasi ji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Sorry, I missed you out last time.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तस्मात् पुरैवाश्विह पापनिष्कृतौ यतेत मृत्युरविपद्यता आत्मना दोषस्य दृष्ट्वा गुरुलाङ्गवायत विषक्चिकित्सेत रुजां निदानवेत्. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. थैंक यू प्रभु जी.
Thank you, Mataji. Pushpa Yasumati Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. प्रणाम प्रभु जी. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तस्मात् प्रैवास्वैह पावनिसकृतौ यतेद मृत्योरभिपत्यात्मना दोषस्य दृष्ट्वा गुरुलाघवं यदा विसक्सिहित्सेद रुजां निदानवेत्. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. थैंक यू प्रभु जी.
Dayavati Devi Dasi ji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे
You are muted, Mataji. Uttama Padma Devi Dasi ji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तस्मात् पुरा एव आशुइह पापनिष्कृतौ यतेत मृत्यो अविपद्यत आत्मना दोषस्य दृष्ट्वा गुरुलाघवं यथा विषक्तिस्तेत रुझां विधानवेत्. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
Thank you. Prakash Rao Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. You are my co-host also.
Lately I have seen. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Tasmat Bhavaya Papa Nishkrutao Eteta Mutyo Avipadyatatmana Doshasya Drusya Gurulaghavam Yatha भिषक्चिकित्सेत रुजां निदानमित्. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you. Usha Dayavati Devidasi ji, are you on mute?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Go ahead,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Go ahead.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Tasmat Pura Eva Asu Iha Papa Nishkritau Yate Mrityu Avipatyata Atmana Doshasya Tritsva Guru Lagavam Yata Bisha Chikicheta Rujam Nidanave. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Madhumati Vilasini Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तस्मात् पुरैवाश्विह पाप निष्कृतौ यते मृत्योरविपद्यतात्मना दोषस्य दृष्ट्वा गुरुलाघवं यथा विशक चिकस्येतरुजां निदानवि हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी थैंक यू सो
Thank you. Revati Ratnangi Devidasi ji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, you are muted. Hare Krishna Mataji, you are muted. Right. Now can we hear you? We can hear.
Bhagavate Vasudeva Tasma Doshasya Drishamam Vidanavat. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
I think some
Thank
technical problem.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Madhumati Vilasini Mataji, can you read synonyms for us?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी श्योर प्रभु जी Tasmat, therefore, pura, before, iva, indeed, aso, very quickly, iha, in this life, papa niskritau, to become free from the reaction of sinful activities, yateta, one should endeavor, Mrityoh, death, avipadhyata, not troubled by disease and old age, atmana, with a body, the dosha of the sinful activities, drishtava, estimating, guru laghavam, the heaviness or lightness, yatha, just like Bhishak, a physician, Chikitseta would treat Rujam of disease, Nidana with one who is expert in diagnosis. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Thank you. Translation. Uh-oh. Did I do something wrong? Translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, before one's next death comes, as long as one's body is strong enough, one should quickly adopt the process of atonement according to Shastras. Otherwise, one's time will be lost and the reactions of his sins will increase. As an expert physician diagnoses and treats a disease according to its gravity, one should undergo atonement according to the severity of one's sins. Purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Dharma Shastras are like the Dharma Shastras, like the Manu Samhita, prescribe that a man who has committed murder should be hanged and his own life sacrificed in atonement. Previously, this system was followed all over the world. But since people are becoming atheists, they are opposing, they are stopping capital punishment. This is not wise. Herein, it is said that a physician who knows how to diagnose a disease prescribes medicine accordingly. If the disease is very serious, the medicines must be strong. The weight of a murderer's sin is very great, and therefore, according to Manu Samhita, a murderer must be killed by killing a murderer, by, must be killed. By killing a murderer, the government shows mercy to him. Because if a murderer is not killed in this life, he will be killed and forced to suffer many times in future lives. Since people do not know about the next life and the intricate workings of nature, they manufacture their own laws, but they should properly consult the established injunctions of the Shastras and act accordingly. In India, even today, the Hindu community often takes advice from expert scholars regarding how to counteract sinful activities. In Christianity also, there is a process of confession and atonement. Therefore, atonement is required and atonement must be undergone according to the gravity of one's sinful act. After the description of the hellish planet, Maharaj Parikshit asked the question how to avoid this situation, because hellish planet is where people are either fried or roasted or baked, have to undergo so many violence and so many forces to counteract that the life becomes very pitiable and punishment is a real harsh punishment. The question that Srila Prabhupada raised then was that the only way to avoid this is getting atonement done during your lifetime. What are the sins? Sins are actually all the activities that we perform in material mode that produces a sinful reaction. We can work or do karmas in mode of ignorance and passion, we understand, is producing sinful actions. But even working in mode of goodness also produces sinful reactions because goodness is contaminated with the material nature. Even the pure goodness, until you reach the final stage of pure goodness, which is known as Shuddha Bhakta or pure devotee, until you reach that final stage, even part of the pure goodness also has material tinge and it does give some sinful reactions. So sinful reactions are not possible only when you are doing karma, keeping Krishna in the center all 100%, or behaving exactly like a Shuddha Bhakta or pure devotee, because he does all his actions keeping Krishna in the center. And so these sins produce are actually accounted for. And accordingly, these sins are actually responsible for our conditioned state of existence. In other words, these sins and our accounts of plus and minus keeps us here because we never really get 0 on our balance sheet. The division of the pious activities and impious activities, I am sure now you understand, is a very gross way of trying to find out what kind of activities we are doing. And that's just meant for general population to understand good and bad. We say that mode of pure goodness until you reach the final stage and become a pure devotee also produces some tinge because they are having tinge of material contamination. So it is the material contamination of three modes and the material nature itself that produces sins. We learn that these sins are responsible for our conditioned soul or our conditioning. And that's why many a times we seek liberation. How to get a liberation from this conditioned state. Things that we produce actually decides our destiny. And that decides at times for us to reach the hellish planet. So now let's see what is atonement. It is said that if you do a thorough atonement, then probably you may avoid going to the hellish planet. What is atonement? Atonement actually is a process which relieves you from the sinful reactions. This process actually minuses your sinful reaction. So obviously they are tougher processes, but there are Vedic injunctions wherein particular processes are described for a particular sin. And it is considered to be part of Karma Kanda of Vedas. Unfortunately, most of the sin dissolving atonements in Shastras are done with the gross body physically, and that's why the results are partial. The sinful reactions can only go away when you are doing your atonement with both the subtle body and the gross body. Subtle body is very important that gets involved, and there are four main areas of the subtle body. As you know, number one is Cheta or consciousness. Number two is Ahankara. We all have false ego. Third is mind, and fourth is intelligence. Unless these parts are involved in atonement, the atonements are not very fruitful because at the end of the atonement, you do not remove the cause. The cause lies in the subtle body. And until you remove that cause, the sins would occur again. And a very famous example of Srila Prabhupada, wherein he says that elephant takes bath in the river, comes out and spreads sand all over his body. So when we do atonement, we also do more or less like the same thing. And that's why the sins must involve the subtle body. Let's look at what the subtle body is really. Yeah, there it is. Ignore the ahankar, that ahankar, okay. Antakaran is a word used for the part of the subtle body, except memories. It has got all four elements: chitta or consciousness, ahankar, mind, and buddhi. Chitta actually experiences gives us an experience of awareness or become conscious of. The English word for chitta is consciousness. Ahankar, as you know, is an ego. It's basically an appropriation and connection with our identity. Mind, it always is very smart. If you still remember Bhagavad Gita and the chariot synonym, chariot analogy, wherein the senses are controlled by mind first. So mind tries and finds out whether the information gathered by senses are pleasurable or not pleasurable. That in Sanskrit we called it Sankalpa and Vikalpa. And Buddhi, that makes sense of object uh, based on the functions of Buddhi. We differentiate, and that intelligence decides the most appropriation and appropriate place. There are many examples where Antakaran has led to fall of very senior and most devotees, like the Vishwamitra Muni, by a single sound of Nupur, got down and fell from the spiritual hierarchy. Let's go a little further. What is the mechanism of perception through this antakaran? There are four functions again. It's like imagine that you are now going through a mall. Chitta or consciousness takes picture. Why? Because it takes picture and sends the picture to other agencies to analyze. So his concept is take a white picture and send it over to your ahankar. So it's said here that Chitta takes picture and to process within by the internal organs like mind and intelligence and ego. Ahankara that appropriates, for an example, what is seen in a picture, whether there is something for me. So Ahankara is looking for whether there is something for me or not. If there is nothing for Ahankar, then it discards the whole picture. Similarly, mind looks at whether there is anything pleasurable in the picture. If there is no pleasurable things in the picture, it also discards the picture. These pleasures are decided by previous experiences. And intelligence that tries to make sense of whatever is seen in the picture and tries to see it in a bigger and broader concept. These subtle body of Antakaran must get involved into the atonement along with the physical self. There and then, atonement becomes something of a reality, and that gives you a total atonement and liberation. Usually, most of our atonements stop at the physical level, and that's why we do not actually attain anything at all. And that's why Srila Prabhupada always says that what is the need of atonement? The involvement of the subtle body, probably by neophytes like us, is not very easy or not possible. And that's why whatever atonement that we will do will have virtually very negligible effect. Srila Prabhupada, therefore, many a times had recommended to us that supposing tomorrow you forget or you miss out 4 rounds of your japa, what do? Srila Prabhupada would say, rather than doing any atonement, just finish them next day or try to keep the count balanced by its average. But he is against the atonement. Suppose somebody has eaten meat or somebody has taken alcohol by mistake, then the atonement needed is that continue with your Krishna consciousness and bhakti more strongly and more vigorously. However, here Shastras do say that if the atonement needs to be done, it must be done according to the severity of the sin that is committed. The typical example given is the example of a murder. Murderer needs to be hanged and given a capital punishment so that he there gets his sacrifice and he is relieved and atoned from the crime that he has committed. We did learn in the Bhagavad Gita that sacrifice, when animals are sacrificed, they are sacrificed with special mantras so that they jump over in the sequence of species and jump over straight to a human species in their next birth. I think there are a few more things, but I think they are not very relevant. So, okay. Any question, any doubts, any revelations, any comments?
Prabhuji, can you explain this slide just briefly once more?
Sure. There are 4 elements: chitta, ahankar, mind, and intelligence. They all 4 combined are known as antahkaran. Chitta is a consciousness, makes us aware about our appropriate position. Ahankara does kind of an appropriation in terms of our identity. And mind is only trying to find out that whatever is going to meet is going to be pleasurable or not. Intelligence separates between the good and the bad, or ones which is needed and ones which is not needed. It goes further and just gives an example of how these four things work. If you go to the mall or any place, the chitta or consciousness will take a snap a picture and send this picture over for the analysis. And the analysis of then ahankar, mind and intelligence will be done as I just said earlier. They'll try and find out in the picture whether his identity is there or there is something which is pleasurable, something which is there for me or not. Does that make some sense, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, the chitta's role only little confusing for me.
Yeah. It
Because
just
this
takes
mind, intelligence, ahankar, these three are arising from subtle body. These three are subtle body.
yes, all four
Probably,
are subtle.
chitta is probably connected to soul.
It's the consciousness. Yeah. But then it's part of the because the consciousness is a contaminated consciousness, and so it falls into the subtle body. When it is a pure consciousness, it is a soul. When the soul never gets contaminated. Soul, when the consciousness gets contaminated by material tinge, it comes into the subtle body. So it's a covering of the soul. It no more remains the soul. Soul
Yes.
is a pure body. Soul is a Sat Chit Anand. Is that all right, Prabhuji? Any
Yes,
other
Prabhu.
question?
That earlier slide once more. Earlier slide.
Okay.
That meaning is wonderful. You know, it's really helps us, Prabhuji. Very nice slide.
Thank you. I thought something valuable must be brought in because these
Thank you.
atonement things are not really very useful to us.
With a certain vague things are very clearly depicted. They really help us.
They are not my slides. One
A
of
deep
the
thought is required to understand this. Prabhuji able to throw some light on this.
I
Very
must
nice.
give
Thank you, Prabhuji. I
I
think you are
must give
doing
credit.
Bhaktivedanta, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Ah,
I must give credit to the Samarpan Gopadas Prabhuji.
yes. Yes. I had some lectures. That's why I'm telling. But very
Yeah.
high level. I think people like you only can grasp it.
I have found him one of the best teacher in
Yes.
Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you.
You know, Prabhu, that he did his PhD on the Jiva Goswami lectures. Venugopal Prabhu. Venugopal Prabhu, he did
Yeah.
his PhD.
Yeah.
You know it together.
Yeah. I attended his Pramana course. There was a nice course he gave
Yes.
by Pramana or proofs or Pramana, whatever you call it.
Yes.
And then he was with us in a Bhakti Vaibhav at one of the places in the third canto.
Yes, Prabhu.
If there are no further questions, any other questions, any other commentary, addition?
Prabhuji,
Hare
I
Krishna,
have
Prabhuji.
one.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. One by
Go
one.
ahead, Mataji.
Yes,
Prabhuji,
Madhumai Mataji. Sorry, I have lost. I think you will have to decide to go ahead one by one.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. This
Hare
ahankar is nothing to do with false ego, right, Prabhuji?
Ahankar has?
Is not nothing to do with false ego, right?
No, Mataji, it has everything to do with false ego. Actually, uh,
Okay.
the subtle body has an ego. The Hindi version of ego is ahankar. This ego, when we have a concept of body, bodily concept, then our ego is a false ego, means our identity is a false identity. But it is an ego. That's a false ego. We all have true ego. The subtle body has true ego, and our true ego is this soul. When we know that we are the soul and not the body, that is our true ego.
Okay.
Any other question, Madhumai?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Madhumati Vilasini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sometime back I read about Yudhishthir Maharaj Prabhuji, like in Canto 1. Like he has reversed the action and merged the five elements of the body in three modes of material nature, Prabhuji. Like in first canto, 15th chapter, Prabhuji, it is given. Like
Yeah.
yeah, his body was present, but he had already because he was in that level where he dropped his all like micro body, what a subtle body first, and he was like already mukta, Prabhuji. In his physical body only, he was already in his atonement, Prabhuji. He has already removed all his subtle body, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, actually, when you will come to third canto, you will come across Kapil Dev, who is the originator of the Sankhya philosophy, and he divides the body into elements. And thus the body is made up of 28 elements. And then, so what it has been mentioned there is that physically you can regrade your body into elements, and then it merges with the earth, and then your subtle body, when you are a Shuddha Bhakta or devotee like you, this is, merges with the soul itself, and thus the coverings are gone, and then you can go back to Swarga straight away, or go back to the Godhead straight away.
Yes, Prabhuji. That time I was like wondering how he reversed it. So today you have explained it so nicely. So it was really nice session, Prabhuji. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Mataji.
Hare
Any other question anyone has?
Prabhuji, in the Antakarana functions, you are given examples. So Vishwamitra Muni hearing we understood, but Ajamila trying to remember verse means which verse?
Mataji, they are in a great detail, and each one has a certain organ involved. Until you go through the Canto 3 and learn all that. See, each sense or each sense has lot of areas. It has got an area of action. It has got an area of worship. It has got a deity. It has got a devta, and that's how the senses function. See, there are people who have ears. You can see their ears, but they can't hear. There are people who have eyes, but they can't see. In our Shastras, it is explained that it is because of the Devata and deities who are not there blessing, and that's why that organ is not functioning. So it's not only the anatomy. We only have understood the anatomy or construction of the senses, but we do not know how physiology or how automatically it works. That is explained. So when you go to Canto 3, you will learn in detail. Then you will understand. It was very easy, Nupur and sound, but the others are quite difficult to understand. That is.
Yeah, I was actually not able to understand what are the other examples you have given, Haridas Thakura,
Yeah.
Tukaram,
They are
NK,
all parts of the Tan mantras. There are Tan mantras and correlate
Matras.
with the Tan mantras. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Sound
Tanmatra.
is also sound is also a part of Tan mantra.
Okay, okay. Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha. So other examples are for those things. This
Yeah.
Shabda
Yeah.
is for this Vishwamitra, and
Yeah.
other examples for the other Tanmatras.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you, Mata. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
One
Mata.
question, Prabhuji. I'm confused. Actually, mind is superior to senses, na Prabhuji. Then why mind can't control the senses and go with it, wants to satisfy the senses, Prabhuji? It can control.
Mind controls the senses. Mind is above senses and it controls the senses.
Yes, but why
Senses do
it
not control mind. So if you look at that chariot, that simple chariot that we learn in Bhagavad Gita, senses are the horses, the reins of the horses which goes into the hand of a lady. Those reins are mind, and the hand of a lady or a lady is intelligence. So senses are controlled by mind, and mind is controlled by intelligence.
There he
So
tells that mind is the enemy as well as friend. If mind is strong, you can control your senses. Yena Prabhuji. In
Yes.
BG they are told like that, you know.
Yes. A
Hare
mind which is under your control is your friend, and mind which is not under your control is an enemy. Any other question? I'll have to go to the Gujarati class. If there are no further questions, thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Prabhuji. Well described.
Thank you
Well
very much for
explained.
attending the class. And I look forward to seeing you again. All of you have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya parasindhubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo Hare Kodi Vishnu. Hare Krishna to everyone.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Pranama.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.